Hey guys, what's going on? So I promised a top 10 horror, and here it is. Um, now, huh, this was tough. Um, th- I'm gonna say that this is a top 10 horror films that I will never get sick of. That's what I'm gonna say. Um, these, I'm not gonna say that these are 10 horror films that I think are better made than any other. I think there are some of these on my list. There are other films out there, horror films out there that are better horror films, but these are films that I will never get tired of. That I will watch until the day that I'm dying with lung cancer or some type of cancer, because we're probably all going to die of cancer. Um, these are films that there's probably five or six in here that I probably watch more than once a year. I would say the others I probably watch once a year to once every year and a half. Um, I'll never get sick of them. They'll never lose the appeal, whatever appeal they had to me. They will never lose, and I will always enjoy them just as much as I did the first time I watched them. So that's what this list is. I'm not saying that these 10 horror films are the best or are my absolute favorite per se. Um, but these are my favorite to watch. We'll say that. If that makes any sense. Probably does. So let's get on with this craziness. Number 10, Lamberto Bava's classic splatter film, Demons. Um, I will never get sick of this. It is completely over the top, completely ridiculous at times, but it's so much fucking fun that I will never get sick of watching this movie. I'm really excited for the Arrow release, and apparently the Arrow release is coming out in December on DVD. But sometime next year they're releasing both of them on Blu-ray. So yeah, I'm probably gonna get both of them if I have money by then. So number 10 is Demons. I just think it's so much fun. Um, I love it. Demons, number 10. Number 9. This one is not one that I would say is like a lot of fun in the terms of what you think of as a fun horror film. Fun horror films are usually um, something you don't take too seriously, um, something that you know might be a little funny here and there, intentionally and not intentionally. This one is a bit more of a serious horror flick, and this is what when I think of horror, this is what I think horror should be. Something that really sort of sits you in your seat and makes you think and makes you look at things maybe you don't really want to see. It should horrify you. That's what this does. That's what this did when I first saw it. I first saw this movie when I was like 16. Um, I was at a friend's house, and it was a girl. She was like, "You got to see this movie," um, and it horrified me then. And every time I watch it, it's still there are parts to me that are unsettling, and that's Henry. Um, it is unsettling and it is unpleasant, but it's one that I can just watch over and over and over. Um, because it amazes me that feeling can still be there after so many times watching it. The first time I watched it, I was absolutely just wide-eyed, like I can't believe what I'm seeing here. Um, yeah, there's nothing else I can say about Henry. It's great. It is honestly to me one of the best horror films ever made. Um, for the style it is. And you just can't go wrong with it, ever. So that's number 9. Number 8, one I consider a fun horror film, even though the ending's a bit of a downer, I guess, but where else was it supposed to go? I just think this one hit everything you could ever want in sort of a creature flick. And, you know, we all know it, we all love it. It's American Werewolf in London. I can watch this so many times over. I'll never get tired of it. It's a whole lot of fun. The effects are amazing. You know, John Landis. How can you go wrong with that guy, you know? Guy directed Thriller. Come on. But I must say, though, that I wish I had my old DVD, because I swear the old DVD looked better than this Blu-ray. This is one of the worst, I'm going to go ahead and say it, one of the worst prints I've ever seen on Blu-ray in my entire life. It's awful. It is terrible. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, I got rid of the old one. Before I bought this, of course. Stupid. I used to do that. I used to try to streamline my collection, which I've stopped doing now. I would streamline it, you know. Whenever a better edition would come out, I would keep the best edition available and get rid of the old one, unless there was something on the old one that the new one didn't have. But I wish I would have kept it, because I swear it looked better on DVD than it does on Blu-ray. But still, great, great movie. That was number 8. Number 7. This is sort of, these are all different styles. So this one is one God, when did I first see this movie? I don't know, it wasn't that long ago. Maybe 10 years ago was the first time I ever saw this movie. Maybe 11 years ago. And of the sort of satanic Antichrist type films, this is the granddaddy of them all. I find it entertaining on many levels. And that is the one and only classic, The Omen. I can watch The Omen a million times over. It's a great, great movie. Of course, you can't go wrong with, Gregory Peck. I actually used to have another thing that I got rid of, which I shouldn't have, but I needed money. I used to have if I still had a picture of it, I would put it at the end of this video, but I don't think I still have a picture of it. I used to have a replica Omen dagger. It was made directly from the dagger that he kills, well, supposed to, stab Damien with in the end. It was made, I can't remember what it was made from, but it was made basically by a friend of mine's uncle, who worked in these sort of metals and sculpting metals, and he even made a special box for it. It was this giant box. I would say the dagger was like that, probably 9 inches, 10 inches. And he built a box for it. It was this big box, and it laid in this box, but it was indented in. So you laid it in there, and it was basically flat. And the background was this black velvety type stuff, and it had a thing that shut, and you locked it. And I would say the guy made, at the most, 15 ever. And I had one, and I sold it to Damien from one of the creators of the Living Dead dolls. He's always at Wasteland, and he found out that I had the dagger, and his name's Damien, so he says, hey, it's my namesake, and he was after me for years when he would see me there, and he would try to spark up a deal, I'll give you this rare, Living Dead doll, this one's worth $250, and I'll give it to you if you just give me the dagger. And he, I would always say no. But then one time I needed the money and I was coming up to Wasteland and I emailed him and struck a deal, and apparently he was super happy about it. His girlfriend was like, this is all he talked about the entire way down, was getting this dagger. So I know it went to somebody that really, really, really enjoys it and will take care of it. So that makes me happy, but I do wish I still had it. But whatever. That's the past. Number six. This is another one I'll never get sick of. It's so goofy and so fun, and I just always have like the best time watching it, and that is Basket Case. Love it. I love the cheap effects. I love the weird, odd feel that the whole thing has. The simple fact that it's a weird, deformed Siamese, not Siamese, well, I guess Siamese twin brother in a basket that kills people. I mean, it's just so strange. How could you not love it? And of course, this is the Blu-ray that I had him sign. So that's Basket Case. God, why do I always forget? Okay, number five. This is another one that it works on so many levels. It's funny, it's gory, it's I don't know that it's scary at any time, but I don't know. It's a classic to me, and that's Reanimator. Again, we'll watch this till the day I die. It's super fun. To me, it has everything that a horror movie of its kind would need to have. It's like the rock and roll of horror films. I mean, it's just a lot of these movies are sort of movies you can put in and have a bunch of friends over and just have a good time with. How can you go wrong with Reanimator? It's so damn fun. I can't say anything else. I with these movies, I get tongue twisted because I don't really know what to say about them because I just love them so much. And it's not that they're, like I said, it's not that I think that these are the greatest horror films ever made, but these are ones that I just have a lot of fun watching, and I always have fun watching. So, number four is classic zombie film. And I don't really have to say much about this either. It's The Beyond. This one has this is certainly my favorite Fulci film. It has such an interesting feel to it. It doesn't feel like any of his other movies, but yet it does. It's strange. I don't know. It feels like a different style, but it's not. It's weird. I just love the whole feel to this movie, and of course, all the gore effects and it being set in Louisiana. That's kind of cool. There's always I have this sort of fascination with like Louisiana and voodoo and just I knew a guy that lived in Louisiana in New Orleans for a long time, and he said that it is like that. They're very superstitious. Voodoo is very, very, very much a huge part of the culture, and people really believe in it. Like, it's no joke down there. They really get freaked out about voodoo, and they really believe in it. So that whole thing sort of fascinates me. So yeah, that's number four. Number three, just a classic, low budget horror film that, with all its shortcomings, comes together and just does something completely special and right. And that is The Evil Dead. What else can I say? But it's fan-fucking-tastic, and you all know that. I don't have to tell you much about The Evil Dead. It is The Evil Dead. It's a classic, and it always will be. So that's number three. Number 2, I go more of a sleazy route, but I just love the performance that's given in this. I think this guy is an amazing actor, and this is another one that, I think that if when this first came out, you were to tell the people involved that this would be remade with a fairly big Hollywood star, they would have laughed in your face. And that is Maniac. Everything from the poster art, which I think is an unbelievably bold statement, but it does let you know right away what you're getting into. I think Joe Spinell's performance in this is one of the greatest heavies of all time. We'll call it a heavy, because it's not really. You border on sympathy and disgust for the character, and that's, I think, something very hard to do. When you feel bad for somebody, when you feel bad for somebody on one hand, on the other hand, they're doing such awful, awful, terrible things, but yet you can still feel sympathy for the character. That's acting, and that's what he does in this. There are times in the movie where you're just like, I just want to get away. This is somebody I would never want to meet in a dark alley. And then there are other times where you just feel sort of bad for him. And that's what's so amazing, I think, about this movie. When it comes down to the heart of the story, it's the turmoil in this person that is so frightening. And sort of, this man was like made a monster. He wasn't necessarily born a monster, but he was turned into one, which is as well frightening. Plus, the effects are great. They're classic. Mr. Savini getting his own head blown off, that's always great. And then the end of it is just so sort of odd and dreamlike that the rest of the movie wasn't really like. So yeah, that's number 2. I could watch Maniac a million times over, even though it's sort of a bit more, less of a fun movie. When I say fun, I mean a lot of the ones I say are fun, you can sort of laugh at. This one, it's a little bit more serious and a little bit more of a gut puncher. And number 1. This I honestly probably pop in 3 to 4 times a year. This is one that if I'm ever really in a bad mood or just not really feeling the day or have absolutely nothing to watch, I may not be in the mood to watch it, but once I pop it in, I'm going to sit down and watch it just like the very first time. And that is the classic Dawn of the Dead. Jason, when he did his top 10, he had Day in his, and what he was talking about was how that Day seemed a bit more realistic than Dawn, about how people were reacting to each other. They were, fighting, they were arguing, of course, because they were scared. They didn't know what to do, which is true. I do agree that Day is probably a bit more realistic in its style and how it's a bit darker. I do agree with that. But I just find Dawn to be more of a good time. And more watchable a million times over. Day I watch a lot too. That's another one that I have a ton more that I watch all the time. But this one is probably the one. This is probably the horror film that I watch the most out of any horror film I own or have seen. Would be this. I never get sick of it. It's just a whole hell of a lot of fun. The whole idea of being trapped in a mall, while the zombie apocalypse is going on outside of you, just really, I think, is an interesting idea. And it sort of is a theme the theme of consumerism and capitalism and all that is sort of a theme that is still, relevant today. It was relevant then. It was relevant in the 80s. It was relevant in the 90s. It will always be relevant in this country. Um, that sort of consumerism, capitalist theme. We're Americans. We live in a capitalist society, and that's just the way it is. And so this movie, I feel, will always be relevant in that sense. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead, #1. So there it is. That is my top 10 horror films that I can watch all the time. That I will never get sick of, I'll say. So yeah, there's that. And I actually just came up with another idea right before I started recording this of what I'm going to say as my top 10 underrated, less talked about horror films. Some of them might be indie films. Some of them might be, fairly well known, but maybe people just don't talk about them a lot. So that's going to be another top 10 I do. And then, of course, the secret genre uh, that a lot of people might not know I'm a big fan of. And you might not even want to watch the video because this might be something that you're just like, well, I don't care about this. But I'm going to make it anyway. I'm going to post it. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. That's the beauty of it. So there it is, top 10. Again, I got 2 unboxings to do soon. I have a review that I've recorded, but I have not posted yet, which I'm probably going to do now. So this video will probably be up after that, so I don't know why I'm talking about it. Anyway, have a great Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it is that you're watching this. I'll see you later.